We have been conditioned to believe that leadership sounds like a roar. We think it's the person standing at the head of the table, dominating the conversation and forcing their will through sheer volume. But look closer at history. Look at the figures who shifted the world without ever raising their voices. As an INFJ, you've probably felt the pressure to perform authority. You've tried to be the pep talk person or the assertive boss, only to go home feeling like an exhausted fraud. Today, we're going to stop the performance. I'm going to show you why your silence is actually your most lethal leadership tool and how to use the visionary's gravity to make people follow you, not because you told them to, but because they can't imagine a future without your insight. There is a biological phenomenon called emotional contagion. Humans unconsciously mirror the physiological state of the most certain person in a group. Extroverted leaders often provide high arousal energy. It's exciting, but it's unstable. An INFJ leader provides low-reactive certainty. When the herd is panicking, the person who remains still becomes the natural gravity point. Your quiet authority isn't about being shy, it's about having such a high level of internal regulation that your calm becomes the ceiling for everyone else's anxiety. You don't need to shout to be heard when everyone is leaning in to hear your whisper. Most leaders lead with TE, extroverted thinking. They focus on logic, systems, and moving the needle. You lead with NIFE. NI is introverted intuition. This is your strategy from the future. You don't just see the problem, you see where the problem will be in 6 months. Your authority comes from insight. When you speak, you aren't just giving orders, you are revealing a reality that no one else has noticed yet. FE is your diplomatic radar. You feel the tension between coworkers before a conflict erupts. You know exactly what a person needs to hear to feel valued. Quiet authority is the art of using NI to set the direction and FE to make the journey sustainable. You aren't a commander, you are an architect of human potential. Here is the tension. You have the vision, but you hate the spotlight. You want the project to succeed, but you don't want to be the face of it. This creates a vacuum where louder, less competent people often take the lead, leaving you frustrated and sidelined. The mistake is thinking that leadership equals attention. It doesn't. Leadership equals influence. In a moment, I'm going to show you the shadow leadership technique, how to run the room from the side of the table, ensuring your vision is implemented without ever having to engage in a power struggle. The loudest person in the room is often the most insecure. They speak to fill space because they are afraid of what happens if the attention leaves them. A sovereign INFJ uses the strategic pause. In a meeting, let everyone else talk first. Listen to the egos clashing. Use your NI to synthesize everything they are saying into one core truth. Then, when the room finally goes quiet, give the synthesis. I've heard everyone's points, and it seems like we're actually arguing about X when the real risk is Y. Here is the path forward. By speaking last and speaking with precision, you aren't just participating, you are terminating the chaos. That is authority. It's not about how long you talk, it's about how much of the unspoken you can translate into action. To move into quiet authority this week, implement these 3 stoic INFJ tactics. Direct observation, the 70-30 rule. Spend 70% of any social or professional interaction listening and 30% speaking. Your goal is to become the data center of the group. The one-on-one architecture. INFJs are infinitely more powerful in one-on-one settings than in groups. Build your authority in the small spaces. Influence the influencers individually. By the time you get to the big meeting, the decision has already been made in the quiet conversations you had earlier. High agency language. Eliminate softeners like, I think maybe, or does that make sense? Use declarative, NI-driven statements. The evidence points here. We should proceed with X. The world doesn't need more loud leaders. It has plenty of those, and look where they've led us. The world needs the sovereign sage, the person who can see the storm coming and calmly steer the ship. You don't need a megaphone to change the world. You just need to be the most certain person in the room.